back on track then, lap 8, and we have 8 drivers remaining in Spa. As things stand, Shakes is still on top by 1.4 seconds away from our start here. 5 places gained for Shakes, 4 up for Stoffel, 5 for John Hannes and 5 for Avalak. Other drivers losing out, generally speaking. Pampern exactly where he started, though he has been much higher, and he's hoping to get rid of those tyres as soon as possible. Looks like that's a retirement then of Uzi on the exit of X has caused this second safety car, so we haven't missed a great deal of track action. Unfortunately, it is just another retirement, unfortunately for Uzi this time, completing what has been a terrible night's racing for McLaren, and not the best night for me either in terms of lobby luck. But we keep trying. We will try and bring you the remainder of this race if it kills us. Car number 2 then, Shakes in the AlphaTauri, heading for the pit lane. Anybody else behind him? No, it is just Shakes who has decided to give up all track positions, well, all 7 track positions that he had for a pit stop to try and open the window. This will mean a decent run on the hard tyres, but only just over half distance, so he's decided that this is the right time for a pit stop. It looks like 02 Stoffel, John Hannes, Kachui Levy and Hashim had the opportunity to pit just before him, so Shakes with no real other choice, dropping all the way down then in that sort of Hamilton in Hungary kind of meme, was Shakes having to pit when he did. I presume he'd just passed the pit lane entry, or everyone behind him decided to do the opposite of what he had done for the change of tyre. Pampern has put mediums on and is going to try and do more than half distance on those medium tyres, which might be a big ask. We shall see. Of course, the tyres do get to cool down on the long straights around here, and of course they get a lot less wear going at these speeds under the safety car. So if this is a sign of things to come, then it will be another issue, another similar issue for Pampern. I think he should probably get those tyres to the end. Well, Shakes has put on the medium tyres here. I thought that would make it his second set of mediums. I thought it was just Uzi and Pampern that started the race on hards. We go behind Bernd Mailander once again. Zero still trying to get some heat into those hard tyres. Quite aggressive on the caution periods is Zero. Seesawing the wheel to generate tyre temperature here, as it looks like Zero has decided to slow the field down. Safety car must have indicated that it was on its way in. She can get penalised for being too far behind the safety car. Riding on board then, second place Stoffel, as he looks to try and at least stay with 02 here. Hard tyres for the top 3. And then Pampern will have a good opportunity here to gain a place or 2 away from the start and the first trip down the Kemmel Straight. Looks like 02 has decided to get us green flag racing. And here we go then for the start of lap 10. 02 is away and Avalak drops down immediately. Looks like he was having trouble getting into the bus stop potentially. But it is 02 in the lead of the race from Stoffel, from John Hannes, from Pampern. Will those 2 drivers manage to catch their rivals in front, I wonder? Pampern just risking a penalty warning there, going through too much apex of Eau Rouge. John Hannes showing his car to the Red Bull in front of him. Let's see, Shakes versus Hashim. Hashim getting through in Les Comps and just blocking the apex as they go through Malmedy and into Rivage. Struggling to get the car directly to the apex is Hashim, but he put a jump on a car on better tyres in front of him, so a nice restart from Hashim. Meanwhile, at the front, 0-2 stretches his lead to 1.1 seconds, and John Hannes stays tight and close to Stoffel. Pampern getting the car up to speed now, and is trying to launch an attack here on John Hannes, but wary of Gachuri Levy behind him in 5th. 8 cars remain of our 12 that started the race, and 12 laps, hopefully racing laps, remain. We can just hold the stream online. There's nothing that we can do about it, believe me. We have experimented and tried everything possible, but unfortunately it's just the difficulty of running the servers under the current power situation in South Africa, I believe. It's the only thing I can really pinpoint. Fastest lap from Avalak there at the rear of the field, little distance away from the battle for 6th, led by Hashim with Shakes hot on his tail, and a penalty for Hashim, another black mark on McLaren's day so far. I don't know if there's any Osmonds left watching the McLaren team, but must be shaking their heads collectively. Absolutely rotten luck after a tremendous qualifying from Hashim today, but rotten luck for the McLarens. The first penalty on the board then for our sole McLaren left, Hashim. I think that's track limits. Let's have a quick look at penalties. Yeah, it is 3-second track limit. Midfield are doing their best to keep this one lively for us. Into Lefania. Just about to pass the halfway point of the race. 0-2 leads, 1.6 seconds ahead of John Hannes. Looks like everybody should be pitted to the end, so it's about getting into a good race pace and pressuring the car in front. I think at this stage we have reduced our chance of further safety cars by reducing the number of drivers left in the field, and the DRS has now been enabled at the it's somewhat random reallocation, re-enabling I should say. It almost appeared to be straight back on after our first safety car, but maybe that's just my perception. Pampern in 4th, right behind now John Hannes, and will have the opportunity to use DRS. It looks like John Hannes just slightly outside of DRS. Is he? Not quite, but a good run through Eau Rouge is for Pampern as the top speed takes effect, but he'd already really done the work using the better tyre. Pampern up to P3, and he's going to need some careful management of those medium tyres, but up to P3 now, and both Ferraris on the provisional podium. 1.1 second gap to Stoffel in front, who is also on those worse hard tyres, and John Hannes really struggling on the warm-up phase here. When you compare it to Gachuri Levy, who put the same tyres on, it's not a pleasant feeling to be trying to operate those hard tyres after a restart. But they took the opportunity when the second safety car was called for to pit as soon as possible to save themselves a full-length pit stop. What of Shakes, who was leading this race? Well, he's down in 8th, strangely enough, and that's a Ferrari round. That's 0-2, who has spun, taken off some front wing elements, but spinning on the way out of Stavolo. That's probably power oversteer for 0-2 from the lead of the race. We were looking at a potential Ferrari double podium, and now Stoffel leads for the championship leading Red Bull team. out there in front with a string of cars behind him, as Pampern on the medium tyres has now caught to within DRS range the Red Bull in front of him. It's lap 13 and the drama continues in this race. Pampern probably not quite close enough here, 6/10 as they exit Eau Rouge. Maybe though, he's got a good top speed advantage. Will he go for a dive bomb into Les Combes? Not quite, but there did look to be some action going on behind. Gatui Levy was super close to John Hannes, and Hashim has brought himself up to 5th position. Look, just that orange flash in the background. Hashim trying to make out of this race whatever is possible, and credit to him for not giving up after all the signs pointed to a really bad night for the team. Pampern in 2nd then leads a string of cars. John Hannes in 3rd, Gatui Levy, and soon I imagine will be Hashim will be all battling for that 2nd position. Stoffel is in the lead of this one, but not comfortably at this stage. Nice, slightly different camera angle there on the way through the first part of Stavolo. Oh, and round goes Gatui Levy. The drivers are really struggling on these hard tyres. Gatui Levy, the next one to drop down the order, and he's being a little bit overzealous on baking hot tyres. Has lost another 2 places. Down to the tail of the field goes Gatui Levy, and we are dropping like stones in this race. But meanwhile, let's focus on the front, because the top 3 separated by about a second in total as Pampern comes through La Source. Gatui Levy, 3-second penalty. Not quite sure how he's managed that one, whether he decides to pit or not. Yes, he does. Clearly picked up some damage or has shredded the tyres, and is taking a chance here that there might be another safety car. Here comes the Ferrari with Stoffel defending to the inside just to minimise the effect of the tow down into Les Combes, and managed just about to hold off Pampern this time round. 4 or 5 tenths separating the top 3 in turn. Pampern looking in the middle section of the racetrack, not to overtake, but to just harvest some energy and keep a good close eye on what Stoffel is able to do with the car at this stage, and then pounce when the opportunity presents itself. He should, I hope, get a decent run out of the out of Blanchimont. He has got a really good run here, good slipstream as the Red Bull defends to the inside. He opens the door slightly, but it would be a very brave one there, down to the inside. Looks like John Hannes trying to avoid contact rather than really try and overtake on the way in. And Stoffel will lead another lap into lap 15 now. Pampern just struggling to get the car away from La Source. I don't know if those mediums are at their tipping point to sort of equal or worse performance than the hards now. He's still getting through Eau Rouge beautifully. Really good overspeed now. This surely will be the moment that he takes the lead and just gets the nose ahead. You can go too wide in here, but he's just rolls the car through the apex with the extra speed available on the narrow entry and manages to secure it. He just had enough of the car in front there, and takes the lead then on lap 15. Pampern, and what kind of speed has he got, and how much further into the race can he go? A couple of drivers put on soft tyres here. Shakes, both AlphaTauris have put on soft tyres and are swapping around in the pits. They will try and get the remaining 7 racing laps complete on those tyres. That is a fairly big ask though on this Spa circuit, super long, difficult circuit, near or around 2 minutes this lap. It is a 1:47 fastest lap still for Avalac. who got that fresh out of the pits. But of course, points paying for everybody finishing today, and so I can see Gatuilebi and Shakes vying for that fastest lap as we get deeper into this race. Stoffel is being dropped slightly here by Pampern in the second half of lap 15. Maybe caught him again slightly down the straight towards the bus stop, but he will have some attention from behind. The gap opens out again in the traction phase down the start-finish straight for Pampern. So Stoffel and John Hannes heading through Eau Rouge now. Stoffel just slips out of DRS, back into it, out of it again, and it should mean that John Hannes has the DRS profit here. No, in fact, Stoffel managed to keep the DRS, but look at the overspeed from the Mercedes against the Red Bull as they will go to vie for position into Les Combes, but John Hannes not close enough to have a go, and he settles for P3 at the moment. AP Mark pleased with the progress of Pampern. AP, are you driving for Ferrari this season, or are you with McLaren still? I forget now, apologies. I haven't got the opportunity to really check for myself. So which team, is it Pampern as a friend you're cheering, or as a cross-divisional teammate? Pampern leads this one by 1.5 seconds, and I think Stoffel is only going to be focusing on his mirrors here at this stage. Hashim, what a fantastic persevering race so far. Hashim into 4th place and catching this group, has now managed to get himself in striking distance here. It's AP Mark just cheering a friend. Good. Okay. Hashim has managed to bring himself forward, and so has Avalak with that stop for the medium tyres. So let's see, is John Hannes about to have a look? Not quite into the bus stop. He doesn't want to lose too much time having half-hearted attempts here, because he's got the very quick Hashim directly behind him. Pampern is gapping the field at the moment. The only cars going faster, I think, are probably those who've put their soft tyres on. And out of La Source we go for the 17th racing lap. Really good slipstream before they reach Eau Rouge for the Mercedes, and we know he had better top speed even with DRS for the car in front. The Red Bull defends. There's nothing he can do. Absolutely nothing can be done about that level of speed differential. So John Hannes slips through into 2nd place, and now Stoffel might be going from the lead to 5th position shortly, because Hashim is very, very quick in all conditions today. He secured pole position. He was the fastest driver through all of qualifying, but a first corner incident meant that he was spun around, and his teammate lost his front wing in a collision as well. We saw the retirements of Chums, and then later Sir Hamrick, Botha and Uzi, but 8 cars remain as we go to our 5-lap countdown to the checkered flag. Stoffel 0.5 of a second away from John Hannes, so holding on to that DRS more, I imagine, at the moment in defence of the approach from Hashim behind. Stoffel gets a penalty though, and that's big news, because Hashim had the only penalty in the top 6, but now Stoffel gets one, so that will be a straight fight between those two. I wonder how many warnings the top 2 have managed to pick up so far. In we go then to La Source. His Red Bull does look very slow on the straights and through Eau Rouge. Almost 2021 spec Red Bull power, it feels like. Oh, a little close in the braking zone means that Hashim had no real option there. He'd already committed to his braking point, and Stoffel did close across the racetrack. A little nudge, and you could be accused of a bump and run there from Hashim, but I don't think there's anything he could do. He can't brake harder at that stage in proceedings, and Stoffel is required to leave a car's width if he has defended to the inside. So Stoffel slips down to 4th place. He's got his championship leading teammate behind him. So we'll see if there is any team orders to happen, any instruction from the pit wall to let the championship leader through. Appears to be a little swap going on between the AlphaTauris, having a bit of fun there, trading places at the tail of the field in 7th and 8th and going for the fastest lap, I think. Pampern leads the race, as he has done since lap 17, and we have a 1:45.8 is the fastest lap currently with Katuri Levy there in the soft tyre shod AlphaTauri. A real topsy-turvy race here. Remember, Avalak started at the back. Hashim was at the back after turn 1, I should say. But in overall positions changed, it is John Hannes and Avalak who have gained the most. John Hannes, though, up to 2nd place and has gained the least of those places from the misfortune of others, you have to say. Stoffel up 3, Pampern up 4, and the rest of the drivers losing places to this point so far in the race, as 0-2 pits, perhaps for a free pit stop in 6th position. I would imagine he had plenty of positions remaining to him. 2nd, 3rd and 4th on hard tyres, 1st and 5th on mediums, and we will look at the penalties towards the end of this race. 3 seconds each for the drivers with flags next to their name, and they pit for new tyres at the tail of the field again. That looks like Shakes going for new tyres. Hashim in 3rd. Is it possible Hashim could get 2nd after being plumb last after turn 1? He does have great pace around here, but this is what we're hoping to see then towards the end, and he'd have to feel very satisfied with the night's work if he did get there. Looks like the Red Bulls holding each other up a little bit here. Not wishing to relinquish that place is Stoffel. Avalak, as I mentioned, leading the championship, and Red Bull as a team leading the Constructors' Championship too. So they need a nice harmonious relationship going on between the two of them. Will Stoffel move aside? Will Hashim pass John Hannes for 2nd? And can Pampern do what very few other drivers have done tonight, and that is mistake and error-free driving? Avalak has now passed Stoffel. Didn't look to be fought too hard for that one. But Stoffel comes straight back at him. This is very Hamilton Massa 2008 situation.